So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and welcome back to Drishti IAS, and today we will be discussing the Indian Express newspaper in this live session. As usual, we will be going through the most important article for you. Our discussion will be limited to the areas which are important for UPSC, only relevant for the UPSC, and then we will be talking about some of the things with respect to the static part as well, because prelims is nearby, and we will be trying to understand few things which are being asked again and again, like when we talk about the rivers, when we talk about the geography related areas. So we will be trying to cover those things as well. Okay, so let's start with the discussion over here. We'll be starting with the fact of the day. Here we'll be discussing about a tree, that is Chinar tree. Okay, recently in Jammu and Kashmir there was this step which was taken that these trees are given Aadhaar. Okay, Aadhaar number they have been assigned. So we'll be seeing why is that happening in Jammu and Kashmir, and then coming to the next one, we'll be discussing the critical mineral mission. Before that, we'll be talking about the geography through maps. In that, we'll be talking about the Yamuna river today. Okay, then let's move further, and herein we'll be talking about the critical minerals mission. Recently, the cabinet has approved it, so we'll be talking about that. That mission becomes important because these are talking about the critical minerals. These critical minerals means that for the energy sector, etc., they are quite important. Okay. Coming to the next one, that is ISRO's century. Herein we will be talking about the 100th launch by ISRO. So that we will be seeing. We will also see that what kind of launching pad we are having, which area is, which kind of areas are there where launching pads are made suitable, etc. Other than that, we will also see that what kind of launching vehicle we are having, like rockets, which we are using to send the satellites into the space. So all these things we will be covering over here. And then sugarcane problem in Maharashtra. Recently, what is happening is that in the sugarcane crop, there is this season when you will be seeing flowering. Okay, but in Maharashtra it is happening before the season, so there is some kind of change in the crop cycle of the sugarcane, and because of which there are certain impacts which will be there that will directly impact the yield of the sugar as well as the you can say industry over there. So we will be talking about that. Then we will also see that what are the critical conditions wherein sugarcane can be grown, or the you can say basically the conditions where this particular crop can be grown. Okay, then for your own read there will be one article, and in the end we will be discussing the practice question as usual. Okay, so let's start with the discussion from your fact of the day. Aadhaar for Chinar tree. Jammu and Kashmir J&K government has initiated tree Aadhaar mission to conserve the region's iconic Chinar tree. Now, Chinar tree is quite famous because this is the area where these trees are found. These are generally found in the cold region, so that is why you will be seeing that many people are going there to see these trees. So there are this tourism related aspect is also attached over here. Now, to conserve them, they have actually started this particular mission by geotagging and mapping trees, giving each tree a unique ID and a detailed census. Okay, so basically they are trying to make sure that by having a number of the tree, or you can say assigning unique ID, they would be able to you can say identify or the trace. If in case the tree is cut down, in that case you can trace it because there is a geotagging which has been done with the tree. Okay. Now coming to the tree Aadhaar mission. What is tree Aadhaar mission? It was launched in 2021. The mission tracks the Chinar trees to prevent unauthorized cutting. Okay, so to protect this particular trees, they have launched this particular mission. Over 28,560 trees has been geotagged with the unique tree Aadhaar numbers. Each tree features a QR code with using the GIS technology. Okay, providing details on the locations, height, girth, health, and the ecological threats. Okay, so this is about the Chinar tree. Now this is about the geotagging. Now let's talk about the Chinar tree itself, because obviously in exam they might ask you about the mission, they might ask you about the tree as well. Okay, so let's see. It is a deciduous tree. That means that in a particular time period of time it will shed its its leaves as well. Okay, so it is a deciduous tree native to cool water rich regions of the eastern Himalayas. Okay, so it is there in the eastern Himalayas, you need to know that. Can grow up to 30-meter tall within a girth, with a girth of 10 to 15 meters. Now that you can see that what kind of girth it can have, 10 to 15 meters. Okay, so if they are asking you in the examination that it is 30-meter tall and 10 to 15 meter in girth, so don't be confused, it is true, it is a right fact. Okay, it takes nearly 30 to 50 years to mature, and another you can say nearly 100 years to reach a full size. So 50 years to get mature and another 100 years, so overall 150 years to reach to a particular full size, that is 30-meter tall. Okay, coming to the next one, what is the IUCN status? So IUCN status is data deficient. Okay, they do not have the, you can say, proper data to say whether it is you can say having any other kind of threat or not. But right now, in when we are talking about Jammu and Kashmir, we have seen that there is unauthorized cutting which was going on, and because of this they have gone for the this geotagging, or you can say basically the tree Aadhaar ID. Okay, the tree named during the Mughal era, Jahangir was the Shahanshah back then, is the state of state tree of Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, so two facts is there. One, the name was given during the time of Jahangir, that can also be asked, and second thing is it is state tree of Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, back then when it was a state, now it is a union territory, so still it is having an importance in the Jammu and Kashmir region. Okay, major tourist attention it is, attraction, when as I told you that this is attracting various tourists to see this particular kind of tree, particularly in autumn, because that is the time when it will be shedding the leaves. Okay, it holds cultural significance in the local art, literature, and the crafts such as paper mache and the carpet. So this is about Chinar tree. There is a picture which has been given over here. So you have to remember that it is a cool climate tree. It is a deciduous tree. It is having a height that is of 30 meter, and it can go up to 10 to 15 meter in girth. And other than that, it will take nearly 30 to 50 years to get mature. And after that, you can see to reach the full height, it will require nearly 150 years. Okay, so that is about your Chinar tree. Now coming to the next one, that is Yamuna river. Herein we will be talking about the some important facts related to the Yamuna river, because yesterday we have talked about Ganga, Brahmaputra. These were the major system we have talked about. Now we will be talking about important rivers over there as well in the Ganga Brahmaputra system as well. Okay, so first when we are talking about the Yamuna, here you can see there is this Yamunotri glacier, and then there is this Gangotri glacier. From Gangotri glacier we have Bhagirathi river, which merged with the Alaknanda and ultimately forms Ganga. Okay, so that is there. Then we have Yamunotri glacier, from where you can say Yamuna river comes. Okay, so there is this another you can say tributary which is there, that is Tons. Okay, Tons is like that. Now Tons is considered as the largest tributary. Here you can see the biggest tributary is the Tons river, biggest tributary. So that is your Tons river. And basically how it is biggest, because when we are talking about this particular portion over here, it is just a small river over here, and these are the rivers which are having the higher length. Okay, we are not talking about the length, we are talking about the biggest tributary, what kind of water they are bringing into the river. Now since it is in the Himalayan river, and Tons has a very zigzag kind of formations. Okay, so that is why Tons is the biggest tributary. Other than that, the second biggest is your Chambal. Okay, now coming to the facts over here, Yamuna river, also known as Jumna, is major tributary of the Ganga river. We know that origin is Yamunotri glacier. Then 1376 kilometer long river flows through India only, and there are some states from which it is flowing, that is Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, and it is passing through Delhi as well. Okay, so this is Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, and Haryana. There is only one district, that is Yamunanagar, through which it is passing, and Delhi. Tributaries if we talk about, so here Tons we have already seen, biggest tributary. Chambal river is the Yamuna's biggest tributary on the right bank. Okay, so here if you see this is your, when we are talking about this, so this is on the right bank, it is the biggest tributary. Okay, Hindon, Sharda, Giri rivers are on the right, and the Betwa, Sindh are on the left. Okay, so here you can see when we are talking about the Betwa and Sindh, these are on the considered as the left tributaries, and when we talk about the Hindon, Sharda, Giri, these are on the right. Okay, so this is about your Yamuna river. So please, this map you should remember. Now let's move further. Before moving further, I would like to tell you that Drishti IAS is offering you ISGS foundation course in the offline mode at our Noida Sector 15 center. It is available in Hindi medium as well as English medium. For English medium, it is starting on 17th February 6 p.m. and for Hindi medium, it is starting on 21st February 11:30 a.m. For more details, you can call on this number, that is 87501 87501. Now we can come to the newspaper part over here. Okay, so let's start. Now first article over here is talking about the critical minerals mission. Okay, so why it is called as the critical minerals? Because these are the minerals which are basically critical for the manufacturing sector, and when we talk about the, you can say, other sectors like electronics sector, for that also it is important. Hold on a second. Okay, So that is why it is called as the critical minerals, because they are quite important as a raw material as well. When we are talking about the electronics and IT industry, for that also this is important. Okay, so why the center is betting on the NCMM? Here you can see the mission aims to strengthen India's critical mineral value chain by building a technological, regulatory and the financial ecosystem to ensure mineral availability from domestic and the foreign sources. Now what they are saying is that we are kind of dependent on China for that. Okay, now what we are saying that we should be having a you can say some kind of reliant value chain. Okay, or you can say supply chain or value chain, that can be there, and we are saying that we can source it from the domestic territories, that is from India, as well as from the foreign sources, making sure that we do not have the supply side constraint with respect to the critical minerals, because they are important. Okay, other than that, they are also talking about the technological frameworks, regulatory frameworks and the financial ecosystem which is required to set up such kind of system. Okay, so that is there. It is set to boost access to the raw materials used in the strategic sectors, from clean energy to electronics to defense to agriculture. Okay, so basically what we are saying that in every kind of sector these are quite important. Now let's see what they are talking about in the critical minerals mission. Okay, so I told you that why it is called as critical mineral, because for every sector they are working as a raw material. Okay, so for that it is important, and if for the raw material, if we are dependent on countries like China, with which we do not have that kind of reliability, so that can be problematic for us, and that is why India has come up with their own mission over here. Okay, so let's see. Critical mineral mission, Union Cabinet has approved it, and they have given an outlet that is basically your 16,300 crore rupees as budget for next 6 years. Okay, so for 6 years we have 16,300 crore rupees. Investment plans, if we talk about rupees 18,000 crore expected from the central public sector, when we are talking about the PSUs undertakings. So from there they are saying that this much money they will be generating. Then fund allocation, if we talk about 3,000 crore from the National Mineral Exploration Trust and 4,000 crore from the geological survey, for the Geological Survey of India, and 5,600 crore for NMET's foreign exploration projects. So basically they are saying that for the national mineral exploration, foreign explorations and the Geological Survey of India. Geological Survey of India's role is important over here, because they will only tell you that this is the area where you can go for the exploration. There are high chances that you will be getting something like that over here. Okay, so there are compartmentalization, wherein the fund has been given to 3 different entities over here. One for the national exploration, second for the foreign exploration, and third is for the Geological Survey of India. Now moving further, what are the objective of this particular mission? So obviously enhancing the self-reliance. As I told you, we have over-reliance on China. Okay, and we are also looking for other countries. We are going for the diversification, but we are right now having a over reliance on China. As a matter of fact, other countries are also having a reliance on China. Okay, so aimed at ensuring a stable supply of critical minerals for the defense, energy and the other key industries. Strategic security and the growth, focus on minerals used in the electronics, energy and defense. Now when we talk about defense, we are actually committed to go for the defense exports or the manufacturing of defense in India. For that also we will be requiring this. When we talk about the electronics in the, when we talk about the solar panels or any other things like chip making sector, for that also we require the critical minerals. And then coming to the energy sector, clean energy sector, renewable energy sector, for that also we will be requiring that. Okay, so that is why it becomes important. Boosting exploration, 100 critical minerals project targeted for the exploration in 2024 to 2031. So basically these are the 6 years for which this particular mission will be there. Now implementation strategy, if we talk about, so private sector involvement, that is central PSU and the private firms will be there. So it can be a PPP project, public private partnership can be there. Okay, coming to the next one, incentives for the recycling. Okay, rupees 1,500 crore allocated for the mineral recycling, targeting 400 kilotons per year. Okay, now when we are talking about the recycling, that means that whenever there is the electronics which is dumped, okay, so out of which if you can go for the recycling, so such particular project can be promoted over here. Global partnership, that is global collaboration with the Canada, Germany, Australia and other countries to ensure the supply of such critical minerals. Okay, so that is the idea behind the national critical minerals mission. Okay, so I hope that is clear. This is nothing much to understand, because these are some simple things that we are reliant on China and we are to increase the domestic production. For that we are going for this particular mission. Now why NCMM is important? Okay, critical minerals essential for the strategic sectors such as batteries, electronics and the defense. For that we need to come up with the proper supply, and that is why NCMM is important over here. Coming to the next one, geopolitical significance, reduce reliance on the foreign supplies. Now foreign supply is one thing, and reliance on China is different thing, okay, because we cannot trust China all the time, so that is also one of the thing. Now sustainable mining and the recycling, focus on the secondary sources to lessen the environmental impact. So these are the importance. Now recent development and the future plans, if we talk about, so here they have said that 18,000 crore rupees investment planned by the companies like Coal India, okay, Kabil and the NMDC. Kabil is basically Khanij Videsh India Limited, okay. So this is basically looking into the foreign explorations for the minerals, okay. So that is one of the important you can say institution for of government of India, that is there. International project, acquisition of mining assets in Argentina. You know that in Argentina ABC triangle is there, ABC triangle, which is also known as the lithium triangle, okay. That is Argentina, Chile and Bolivia, okay. So Argentina, Bolivia and Chile, or you can say this is a triangle which is there in the South America, and this is famous for the lithium. There are world's highest lithium reserves which are there, and we are having some kind of you can say initiative we have taken that we will be sourcing lithium from Argentina. So for that we have a partnership, and partnership in the high resource regions. PM Modi's vision, if we talk about strengthening India's global position in critical mineral supply chain. So this is the recent developments which has happened in the field, in this particular field, okay. So I hope that is clear. Now we can move to the next one, that is ISRO's century. ISRO has launched 100th satellite, okay, from where? Sriharikota. Now we will be seeing different aspects over here. They have given various details, like various name of the satellites, which satellite has been launched first, which second, like that. You don't have to worry much about it. First three you should know. After that you should know that what kind of launch vehicles we are having, okay. So all these things we will be talking about. Here you can say 100 launches when we are talking about. So here small when we are talking about the satellite launch vehicle, this is the original one. When we talk about the launch vehicles, there are 6 categories which we had, and out of which 4 are operational right now, okay. So here you can say satellite launch vehicle, that is 4 mission has been done through that. Then augmented satellite launch vehicle, another 4 mission has been done through that. Then PSLV, that is your polar satellite launch vehicle, 62 mission. This is generally you will be seeing that polar satellite launch vehicle, or the PSLV, is considered as the workhorse of ISRO. Why? Because it has gone for the maximum launches. You can see that others are having 4, 4, 16, 7, 3, 1, 1, 1. It is having 62 launches. Okay, so that is why it is called as the workhorse of ISRO. Then we have GSLV, that is geosynchronous launch vehicle, which is there, and for that different version is there, that is Mark 3. Okay, launch vehicle Mark 3, GSLV Mark 3, which is there. For that, from that we have gone for the 7 launches. A small satellite launch vehicle, generally you will be seeing that for the private sector satellites which are being launched, for that small satellite launch vehicle is used. Reusable launch vehicle, when we talk about the reusable launch vehicle, that means that will send the satellite, put it into the orbit, then come back to Earth, okay, and it can be reused again. So that is also the technology India has now. Test vehicle mission and the paired abort test. So these are the total, you can say, test which has been there. So somewhere around 100 tests we have done, and this is the last time whatever ISRO has done, that with its first launch of 2025, the Indian Space Research Organization clocked a century of launches, a significant milestone for the space agency. Starting from the humble origin, ISRO has developed several rockets which we have talked about over here. Now let's see some of the important aspects from this particular article. Now let's see, ISRO will celebrate, we have talked about this, and from where? Satish Dhawan Space Center, Sriharikota, okay, and they have launched, this is GSLV F-15 mission. Okay, the first launch from the Sriharikota was, that is on the 10th of August 1979 under Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Okay, so that you can remember, 10th of August 1979. Okay, so this is the first time we have launched a vehicle from Sriharikota. Okay, now let's move further. Why Sriharikota is chosen as the launch pad? So obviously when we are talking about the India, we are having launch pads at the Sriharikota. We are trying to have one more launch pad, that is this Kala Shekhara Kula Shekhara Pattinam. So they are trying to have this particular place where we are going for the another launching pad. Why is that? When we talk about this, Sriharikota, so here you will be seeing that we have to circumvent like this and then go for the launch. Okay, so that is the dog leg maneuver which is there. Okay, so since you have to circumvent like this and then go, this is the dog leg maneuver which is there. Now to avoid that, they have said that we will be going for the Kula Shekhara Pattinam. So for that you can avoid the this dog leg maneuver. Okay, so that is their second thing is for the launching of the vehicles. If we are having a launching pad on the east coast, that will be very feasible. Here you can say the strategic location on the east coast, that is your Sriharikota, located close to the equator, which gives the advantage of launching the in the east direction. Now why is that? Because you know that Coriolis force is there. Okay, so we have Coriolis force to make sure that that is minimum. Okay, if you go towards the equator, you will be seeing that it is minimum over there. So that is an advantage which is there, and that is why launching it from the east direction, that is important, and that is why we are having a launch pad in the east coast of the India. Okay, so that is there. Coming to the next one is sparsely populated area suitable for the security zone, because if there is unfortunate incident like a crash or something, that any kind of impact on the population can be avoided because it is a sparsely populated area. Okay, then coming to the next one, convenient launch for the various type of missions. So that is there. That is why Sriharikota is chosen as the launch pad. And now we are talking about the Kulasekhara Pattinam. Please remember this particular name. Okay, this particular project was initiated way back in 2020. And recently also they have said that they will be going for the third launch pad at Sriharikota as well. Okay, so these are some of the things which you should remember. They can ask you about the dog leg maneuver, which is given over here. So it is, you can say, dog leg maneuver is a sharp turn that causes the rocket to deviate from the straight line flight path. Okay, so that is there. This maneuver requires more fuel in the rocket, which eats into the payload capacity for the launcher. So if you are having this dog leg maneuvering, so that means that there will be a requirement of the more fuel. If you are putting more fuel in the, you can say, the vehicle, that means that the weight of the vehicle will increase. So that if we are having another launch pad which is having a straight line, which can be launched in a straight line, and no dog leg maneuver is required over there, so fuel requirement will be less. Okay, so this is about it. Now you can see evolution of the rockets, where there are process, or there are various phases in which rockets has been, you can say, developed in India. So here you can say developed 6th generation of the launch vehicles, 4 of which are currently operational. Here you can say SLV, satellite launch vehicle, carried 40 kg to the low earth orbit. This is the initial phase where we have started, so only 40 kgs to the low earth orbit. Okay, then augmented SLV, so for that we had the 150 kg. Okay, coming to the next one, that is PSLV, polar satellite launch vehicle. It is the most reliable. It is considered the workhorse. It is having a carrying capacity of nearly 2000 kg to low earth orbit. Okay, then comes the GSLV, geosynchronous satellite launch vehicle. It is having India's first launch vehicle using the cryogenic engine. Okay, so this is something you can remember. Then here you can see GSLV Mark 3. Okay, now this is LV Mark 3, launch vehicle Mark 3. Okay, heaviest launch vehicle, can carry nearly 8500 kg to LEO. So from where? From 40 kilograms we have started, and now we have reached to the 85 kilograms. Okay, other than that, we have small satellite launch vehicle that is generally used for the private sector and the small satellites. And now we are talking about a next generation satellite launch vehicle as well. Okay, so next generation launch vehicle that will be having a capacity of nearly 30,000 kilograms. Okay, through low earth orbit. So this is one of the mission which we are working on. So that is there, and it is reusable first stage to make launch for more launches more cost effective. Third launch pad at Sriharikota approved for the NGLV operation. I just told you that one we have in Sriharikota, second Kulasekhara Pattinam we are talking about, and the third one will be at Sriharikota, that will be for NGLV operations. Okay, so that is there. Other than that, major upcoming mission if we talk about, so sample return from the moon, we have already talked about this various time in our discussions. Venus exploration mission, Indian space station project, human mission to the moon. Other than that, human space flight and the commercial launches, increasing capacity for the LMV3 launches, enabling heavy commercial satellite missions. Okay, so this is about the you can say all the things which are related to your ISRO, which has happened in the recent past. Okay, fine. Now let's see here. One more thing I would like to tell you, that Navik. Recently it was in news. Okay, so Navik is the navigation through Indian constellations. Okay, so that is there. This is the constellation is basically formation of a satellite, or formation of various stars, that is called as the constellation. So it is a particular kind of formation which is there. Now when we talk about the Navik, you know that we have a series IRNSS. This is for the communication, etc. We are using these satellites. Okay, so India has thought that they will be coming up with their own navigation system. Okay, you know that GPS is a navigation system we are generally using into the phone. It is a USA based navigation system. During the war time, in the in 1999, in the Kargil war, etc., we have asked for the navigation system from the USA for the security purpose, and they have denied it, because that time you can say USA and Pakistan was kind of close. Okay, then we have decided that we will be going for our own you can say positioning system. So now that is their Navik. Okay, now what is the idea behind it? So this is our India. Okay, here, and 1500 kilometers from this part, this border, and 1500 kilometers from this border, we will be covering this much of the area. Okay, all the time, 24/7. So for that we will be requiring some satellites which will have a continuous vigilance on this particular area. So we have come up with these satellites over here. So you will be seeing that there are 7 satellites, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 satellites which are there. This is called as the Navik constellation. Okay, so here you can see that these are the satellites which is there. These are the geosynchronous satellites which are there over here. Okay, and these are the geostationary satellites. Four geostationary and 3 geosynchronous satellites are there, which is covering this area. Okay, so here you can see India is covered over here, part of Pakistan is covered over here, and China is covered over here. Okay, so that is about your 7 sisters from the IRNSS series, that is also called as Navik. Recently one of the satellites stopped working, and that is why we are sending the backup satellites. Right now we are having 7 satellites. Our target is to increase it to 11 satellites. Okay, we have sent one IRNSS1H. First one was 1A, and we have sent A, B, C, D, E, F, okay, and G and H. So we have sent H1 as well to replace one of the satellite over here, but that it was not successful. So right now we are having some kind of, you can say, our project is to replace some of the satellites which are there over here. Okay, so that is your Navik and IRNS series. Okay, coming to the next one, with cane flowering too soon, sugar production in Maharashtra takes a hit. Now when we talk about the sugarcane, you know that for the sugar industry it is an important crop. The shelf life is low because obviously the sugar content will start to decrease with the time. Okay, that is there. Now what is flowering has to do with the sugar content and the industry. Now when we talk about the flowering means that this is the point where the sugar content in the cane start to decline. Okay, now this flowering is happening before time this time. Okay, because of various things like the change in the rainfall patterns or the extreme events, etc., which are happening. Okay, earlier there was the water deficit, and then suddenly there was a water surplus, because of which the crop cycle has changed. When the crop cycle has changed, that means that now the flowering is happening early, and because of which the sugar content will be declining, so the yield will be declining. Okay, so that is a concern which has been faced in various parts of Maharashtra. Maharashtra is one of the pioneer states when we are talking about the sugarcane production. So let's talk about this particular article over here. So see, a farmer in Solapur noticed flowering in his sugarcane crop as early as late October, which should occur much later. This phenomena was widespread in the region. Okay, so there are various you can say districts in you can say Maharashtra wherein we have seen this phenomena. Early cane flowering. Sugarcane in Maharashtra began flowering prematurely, which is unusual and impacts the sugar production. Flowering typically reduce the sugar accumulation in the cane. So basically here you will be seeing that the sugar accumulation in the cane will be reducing. This will impact the yield and the recovery impact. The sugarcane recovery rate drops. The sugar production was adversely affected. The average sugar recovery percentage in some area fell to 10.5 to 11% compared to the 11 to 12%. Okay, so that has decreased by nearly 1%. You can say 1 or 2%. So that is a concern over here. Now, reason for the flowering, why is that we are witnessing early flowering over here? Prolonged drought. Earlier there was this prolonged drought which was there in the June and August of 2023, and after that you will be seeing that there was this excess rainfall. Okay, so monsoon is kind of acting up, so because of which they have seen that the crop cycle has changed. It has disrupted the crop cycle, and climatic stress, including the reduced sunlight and the uneven weather patterns, contributed to the issue. Okay, so basically, be it your climate change, be it because of the cloud formation, etc., if sunlight is not reaching to the fields, okay, so because of that climate exigencies, all these things are leading to the early flowering over here. Production challenges with sugarcane is reduced. When the juice extraction is reduced, that means that sugar production will take a hit. So that is about it. Now coming to the next part, that is what are the suitable conditions for the sugarcane production, because that is something UPSC can ask. You will be seeing that various times in the PYQ, you will be finding that there are various things which has been repetitive. Okay, there are various times that they will be asking about the crops. If one year they have asked about cotton in PYQ, okay, so in the next year they might ask you about tea, they might ask you about, let's say, cane. Okay, so this is a pattern which is there in PYQs. You will be seeing that some of the crop is has been asked again and again. Okay, so that is there. So for that, let's see the sugarcane cultivation conditions over here. Suitable conditions for the sugarcane cultivation. Temperature between 11 to 27 degrees Celsius, that is there. Then hot and humid climate, that is the requirement over here. Rainfall around 75 to 100 centimeters, that will be there. Deep, rich, loamy soil is required over here. And top sugarcane producing state like Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Bihar, they will be they are basically top producers over here. Here you can see in this particular map, you will be finding that Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh are basically the top producers over here. Okay, when we talk about these two states, you will be seeing that the 1 and 2 ranking there will be fluctuating between UP and Maharashtra, and then these areas like Odisha, which is also there, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Bihar and Madhya Pradesh, they are also having sugarcane productions. Okay, I hope that is clear. Now we can move further to the next one, that is crucial scientific data influence over the global health, what US loses with the WHO exit. Now when we talk about the USA, recently you know that they have actually exited from the WHO and the Paris Agreement. Yearly it may different or same, sir. When we talk about PYQs, what is there is that, let's say if they have asked a question over here, okay, in the question they have given the 4 options also. Now these 4 options are not just options, these are basically, you can say, hints that UPSC might ask you from these as well. Okay, so let's say if UPSC has said that there is this particular crop, let's say if we are talking about this particular factor over here, if UPSC is asking you these 3 statement has been given, there is a crop which is needing this much temperature, this much rainfall, this much climate, that kind of climate, and this kind of soil. Okay, which of the crop they are talking about. Now they have given 4 options, A, B, C and D. One is wheat, second is sugarcane, third is rice, fourth is coffee. Okay, now in that case you will be telling that this is talking about sugarcane. Now it is important for you that you go and read about these 3 crops as well, because there are high chances that they might ask you again this. If this year coffee is in the news, so there might be a chance that they might ask you about the coffee as well. Tea production was also in the news, that has taken a hit, so they might ask you about the tea production. Now since sugarcane is also in the news, they can ask you about the sugarcane. So that is how that is there. Okay, so let's move further to the next one. So USA has left from the, you can say, your WHO. So because of which there are 2 kind of concern. One concern is for the global community, second can be for the USA. Okay, so let's talk about both of them. Now what is there, USA is the big contributor which is there. Okay, now if USA is leaving the, you can say, forum over here, there are chances that the countries like China and Russia, they might fill the void. Okay, that is there. Otherwise also we have to make sure that when USA leaves, the functioning of WHO does not hinder. For that you need to go for the reforms as well. Okay, so that has been talked about over here by the experts. So let's see what US loses with the WHO exit. US withdrawal from the WHO, President Trump's decision to exit the WHO organization could have far-reaching consequences for the global as well as the American public health. Now impact on the global health. Okay, loss of critical disease outbreak data, malaria, measles and the monkeypox. Now if there is some kind of outbreak in USA, so we will not be able to find that, because now USA is not having any kind of obligation to provide data to WHO. One thing. Coming to the second one, now why is that a concern, that if there is an outbreak in USA, why are we concerned about it? Because people are traveling from USA to India, to other part of world as well. Okay, so they might carry the infection as well. So that is why it is important that if something some kind of medical emergency is there in USA, data must be shared. Okay, coming to the next one, weakening of the global health security and the responses mechanism. So health security will be weakened, as I told you that how it will be weakened, because we will not be having the data, we will not be having the information. Okay, then coming to the next one, potential increase in the Russia and China's influence over the global health policies, because obviously USA is leaving, then there will be someone who will be filling the shoes of USA. So if that happens, so that is there that they will be having a sway on the public policy, or you can say health policy matters. Okay, so these are the concern for the global health. Okay, why is the concern? When we are talking about China, we cannot trust China in the global health aspect as well, because when we talk about the COVID, when we talk about any kind of where there are various infections, there are speculations that can be lab grown as well. Now again, these are speculations, but again, if there is a speculation, we should know, we have a right to know that whether it is a speculation or it is a fact. Okay, so something like that, you can say that that will hinder the security in the global aspect. Now coming to the impact on the United States, so loss of scientific data, like we cannot get their data, they will not be able to get data from the WHO as well. Let's say if there is a, you can say, world across there is a pandemic, like COVID was also cross border pandemic which was there. So in that case, USA will not be getting data, so that is the loss on the USA's part. Coming to the next one, pharmaceutical and the health policy disruptions. So there is this body, that is International Classification of Diseases code, which are there, which are generally used for the insurance purpose, etc. Okay, so these code will not be unified anymore, because WHO is managing these codes now. USA is not into that. So if you are going for the any kind of international insurance, okay, let's say if there is a body, if there is a company which is multinational company, and now it is providing you can say health insurance, so that can be a problem, because now USA is out of WHO. Okay, so uniform norms will not be there. Coming to the next one, track antibiotic resistance and ensure drug safety globally, that is there. Weakening the public health research, because USA will not be getting data, and they will not be giving data. So in that case, you can see that there can be data crunch and weakened public health research as well, because for research you require data. So that is impact on the USA. Now what is the call for reform? Why is that we are saying that there should be a reform in the WHO? Because obviously, as I told you, if USA is leaving, USA is a important contributor in WHO, so someone has to fill the shoes. Okay, so that is there. For that also you need reforms, or otherwise also these are some age old institutions which are there, for them we need reforms. Okay, expert advocate reform within the WHO, but emphasize on no other organization can replace it, because WHO has impact, WHO has you can say purpose. Okay, so we cannot replace it, but we need to go for the reforms. Financial impact, if we talk about, so USA was the largest donor, contributing nearly 15% to the WHO's budget. That is one of the reason that they have left. Okay, they were contributing so much, and you know that Mr. Trump has this policy of inward looking, or America first policy. So he said that why should we contribute this much into this? So that is why they have left. WHO's budget for 2024-25 is 6.8 billion, comparable to the Rhode Island's state health budget. Okay, so this is the budget. For that they require voluntary contributions. Okay, so that is why they have actually called for the reforms, and what will be the impact on the WHO. Okay, now moving further, passing references, 16 page from the priest certificate and Uttarakhand UCC rules for the live-in. We have already talked about the UCC, so we will not be going into it. Just go and read about the UCC, or watch the earlier lectures, because in the thumbnail you will be getting the idea where we have talked about the UCC. Coming to the next one, Trump invites Netanyahu to White House, mediators look ahead for the ceasefire phase 2. So Mr. Trump, after taking the office, he has invited Netanyahu, that is the PM of Israel, and they will be talking about the next phases. There are speculations that they will be talking about the next phase of the ceasefire. So let's see what happens when they meet, what happens then. Okay, so that is about the passing reference. Now small and smart. Now there was this editorial when we are talking right now, when if you are focusing on the prelims, I would suggest that you can avoid the big editorials as of now, because obviously for the mains these are important. If you have time, go through it, but you can avoid them for now if you are preparing for the prelims this time. Okay, but these are some of the editorials which you should read, because it will not take much of your time. Okay, so when we are talking about the small and the smart, these are talking about the deep seek. we have yesterday talked about these, and that is one of the reason I initially did not take editorials, because whenever there is a topic, we already covered the backward linkages. Okay, and let's say when we are talking about the sugarcane issue, we have already taken the climatic conditions, we have taken the production areas, we have taken why flowering is having detrimental effect on the yield. All these things we have discussed. Now that will be discussed in a you can say editorial as well. So that is why I used to skip the editorials, but we had the comments that we should go for the editorial, so we have taken it. So I have already talked about DeepSeek yesterday, so I don't have to go through it again, but know that this is an important topic, because this is something which is giving a tough competition to ChatGPT, and you know that artificial intelligence is kind of important topic for UPSC. Okay, so go through this small article. There is nothing much you cannot understand, because we have already covered it. Okay, now for your own read, there is this article, India China thaw, what fine print of the country's statement says. We have talked about this as well. India and China thaw, yesterday we have talked about it, or day before yesterday we have talked about it. We have talked about 2 or 3 factors over here. That is Mansarovar Yatra. I have already told you that why Lipu Lake is important, and the nearby area, how we have issues with Nepal as well. We have discussed about that. Direct flights, we have said that there will be a direct flight which will be started between the 2 capitals, that is there. And then trans-border rivers, they will be sharing data. We have talked about that as well. We have talked about the dams on the Brahmaputra as well. So all these things we have already talked about, so you can go through this article. Okay, now in the end we have practice question which was given to you in the last lecture. What recent development in AI is compared to the Soviet Union's Sputnik movement? Okay, that is option B would be a right answer. Release of DeepSeek R1 by China. Okay, coming to the next one. What is carrying capacity of the next generation launch vehicle NGLV to the low Earth orbit? 10,000 kg, 20,000, 30,000 or 50,000. We have discussed that. So you can attempt this and answer to me in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. I'll see you in the next session. Till then, have a nice day. Thank you, and please subscribe the channel.